So now, again, within this Layout Manager block, I've got block 2.1. To the right of it, I've got block 2.2. And within that Layout Manager block, I've got 2.2.1. So you can see now that, again, following the same numbering sequence starting with 1, this is the first block within block 2.2. 2.2 is the second block within block 2, and so on. And now we're going to add in a third or a second block in here. So we're just going to click this green plus sign again, title block, enter in our number 3, increase our font size, and just go ahead and submit this block. And now you can see now that we've started to get a little bit more design or placement with using layout managers. We have our layout manager block here too, our 2.1, our 2.2 with 2.1, 2.2.1, and 2.2.2. 2.2.2 is the second block within block 2.2, and so on. And we could keep adding in blocks in here, but you can quickly see a few things in here. First of all, you can see that this block 2.1 isn't lined up exactly with 2.2 as far as being lined up with the top. It's set to middle. And as we talked about earlier, if we edit this block 2, you can see that here in the block options. You can see that block 1 is set to middle alignment, and the block 2 is set to middle alignment. But because block 2 has several blocks in it that's taking up more space, it's pushing the layout manager down more, which is making this be middle. So we can actually change this to top. We can actually change them both to top, but we won't see any difference with block 2. And submit this. And now you can see that block 2.1 should be lined up exactly vertically with block 2.2 as it is right here, as you can see. And we can move this block up and down or change it a little bit, but this is the general functionality of layout managers using the alignment features and so on. The other thing that you can see here is on this drop-down up here, which is our page layout drop-down, you can see the structure of this web page. 2.2 layout, 2 start layout here, and then 2 end layout. So everything in between start layout and end layout is within this layout, number 2. And so you can see our 2.1 title block, and then you can see our other layout, 2.2 start layout, and it's got 2 title blocks in it, and then it ends, and then there's the 2 end layout. So it gets a little complicated sometimes, but the best way to manage this is using your numbers, the number sequences of blocks, and this little page layout drop-down feature here that allows us to keep a good organizational eye or view on how our page is starting to lay out with the different blocks. We can actually keep adding in different layout managers within this number 2 layout manager here. We can add in another layout manager here after block 3. We can just scroll down here to this layout manager and just click next step. And we could set this to columns again and hit submit. And within this layout manager we can add in some more title blocks. Number at 4, and change the font size, and submit the block. And so you can just keep inserting layout managers and layering your website with these blocks, and being able to place your text and your graphics and things like that wherever you want on a particular page. We can add in another title block here, number this 5, and so on. Now what we're showing you here really is not a very useful example to how to use layout managers. This is just more of a learning or an instructional feature of how to use layout managers. Practical use examples are what I'm going to show you next. And these are just some very basic examples that we've created in the past for templates or for different websites. And again, this can get very complicated in some of the newer designs and different things like that, but they all follow the same basic principles and structures, and that is that you can have a layout manager and it positions your blocks in rows or in columns. You can have a layout manager that has layout managers within it, so you can take a column and break up a part of it into rows like this, and then you can also break up rows into columns like this right here. And this can continue on, and you could keep building and laying out your website until it's built and it looks exactly the way you want, and it's pleasing, and it allows you to market your products and services or your information, different things like that. So this is this covers our nested layout managers. And if you have any questions, you can type them within your questions box, and we can answer them. But now what I'm going to show you next, while we're getting some questions coming in, is I'm going to show you our practical use examples. And so I'm just going to pull up some images that I've pulled up here. And this is a screenshot of a page builder page that has a fairly simple layout. And this layout here that I'm showing you right now is using 3 layout managers in order to get this page to look exactly like this. The first layout manager is this layout manager number 1, and the best way to seeing what layouts contain what blocks is, again, following the border. So you can follow this outside border here all the way around. So layout block 1 covers everything, this entire page. And within this block 1 layout manager, we have another layout manager here called block 1.1. So again, it's the first block within block 1. And following its border, you can see that this covers just these 2 blocks within block 1.1. So we've got block 1.1.1 and 1.1.2. 2 different blocks within this layout. It looks like we have a graphic block where you could place a logo and some button blocks for your buttons, navigation. And to the right of that block, 1.1, is block 1.2. So because these 2 blocks are side by side, we know that layout manager 1 is set to columns. And because in both of these, the blocks are one on top of another down the page, we know that both of these, 1.1 and 1.2, are set to rows. And you can see that there is a place here for a page title, and then we have some default Latin text that fills in this space here. So this is one example of a practical use setup for layout managers. You can see that there's a layout manager that goes around everything. Within that, 2 layout managers, one for the navigation part of the website as well as a logo, the other side for the page title and description and so on. The next practical use example is a little bit more basic than the first one. This one actually only uses just one layout manager. You have here a graphic block here at the top that is for the logo or the header graphic, and it goes all the way across the screen. There's no layout manager around it. And within block 2 here we have our text or our description block that has our default Latin text in it, and to the right of that we have our navigation block. And you can actually switch these back and forth, so it doesn't matter how it's laid out. But this is only really using just one layout manager block. So you can create some a very good basic looking website, or a little bit more complex, still good looking design or layout of a website. And really, you don't really have very many limitations in how you lay out your web page. I think sometimes there are some really neat designs out there, and those neat designs can be laid out using layout managers, maybe just a few layout managers, and then there are some very complex designs out there that may use anywhere from 10 to 15 layout managers on a page. But once you understand the basics of layout managers and how they work, you can master the basics of laying out your website pretty quickly. Pretty much one of the most complicated or one of the one of the tools that a lot of people don't really learn or understand the most is probably the layout managers. But once you understand them, once you learn them and realize how they work and what you can do with them, you can do a lot with them. This is one of the key tools for building a design-pleasing website, and one of the key things to success on the web. And it's right here, all within our page builder program here at EZ-NetTools.
And one of the things I'd like to add, Tyler, is when you start using graphics and backgrounds in these, you can just do some incredible things in the pages.
Yes, that's correct. And there's just, again, a lot of features within the layout managers that we covered, backgrounds, padding, and so on. And what we're going to cover now is some cautions for EZ Layout Manager blocks. And one of those cautions is deleting a Layout Manager block. We're going to go ahead and come back into our Page Builder page. And the first caution is deleting Layout Manager blocks. Now, to delete a block, as I mentioned earlier, you can just simply click on the red X for this block. So we could just delete block 5 here. It'll prompt and say, are you sure you want to delete this block? And we can say yes. Kind of similar to your Windows Vista cancel or allow type feature that you got going on. And this is just a security feature that makes sure, if you accidentally click something, that you're not just messing up your page or deleting things without really knowing what you're doing. You could mess up your design pretty easily. But with layout managers, it's different. If we click on this red X here for block 2.2, which is one of our layout managers, the prompt is actually a little different. It says, what would you like to delete? Pressing delete blocks will delete all blocks within the layout. Okay, let me explain that. It will delete everything within this layout manager block, including the layout manager block. So it will delete block 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and so on. And it'll remove itself and all the blocks within it. And if we click delete layout only, it will delete the layout manager block only and leave all the blocks within it. So let's just check out the two examples here that we have here. So if we go back to our website by clicking cancel,